What's going on, world? This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal, and today I get to talk about my absolute favorite subject for my absolute favorite people. That would be social media and technology for real estate professionals. And today I have Karen Liz Albert with us. What's going on, Karen?
Hey there. Good morning. How are you, Marky?
I am doing fabulous. I know that we had a little discussion about weather because we're recording. It's a little cold. It's a little nippy out. And I was telling you that
Yep.
I was out in your neck of the woods, which is the Denver area.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're getting snow today. I know I'm getting snow today. Are you getting snow
Yes.
today?
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Yep. I woke up and stepped outside and went, oh, I'm going to go change my boots.
I do not blame you. Well, you know what? I love social media and technology, and so do you. How long
Yeah.
have you been leveraging social media and technology for real estate professionals?
Gosh, almost 10 years now. I started my company in 2010, and I'm telling you, it has been such a fun, wild ride to see the incredible changes in social media, but also to see how much of a impact it has had on business owners and real estate professionals when they actually implement it and use it and get the fact that we live in such an amazing, unprecedented time right now to have access to the type of technological tools that we do, and they're free. Which, like, I want to like shake people. Like, do you not understand what you have? Yes.
You know what? Last week we had an event here in the city of Chicago, Titans of the Industry. It was the first of its kind. We received a grant from the Women's Council of Realtors.
Awesome.
And it's kind of funny to me over time how people are now finally starting to get it.
Yep.
And the way that I explain to people, it's the one place that people tell you all their business in real time for absolutely no cost.
That's right.
It's free.
Exactly. It's all free. Yes.
For absolutely no cost. So
Right.
because people are going to see or listen to us at the very beginning of 2020. What is one thing that you believe real estate agents should do different in 2020? And it's something you could have told them before, but you realize enough people aren't doing it. So
Yes.
what is something we need to do right now when it comes to social media?
And it is what I've said before, yes, but I think according to what you're saying, I think that I agree with you, Marky. There is a huge, I'm seeing a real insurgence of awareness by real estate professionals that they have got to be on social media, and not only on it, but they have to understand how to strategically use it in a way that's actually going to leverage their brand and build relationships so that they're actually starting to get some connections and some leads out of it. But what, if nothing else in 2020, is look at how you can use social media platforms to get in front of a specific market that has the highest demand for what it is that you have to offer. Real estate agents have got to stop trying to be everything to everybody, because that is not how you're going to see some response and a return on your efforts from social media. It's like marketing 101, and you know this. If all you're doing is pumping out stuff that's all about you and all about real estate, that is so boring. I mean, everybody out there is doing the same thing. You have to find a niche. You've probably heard riches are in the niches. You've got to understand who is that specific market that you really want to tailor your services to in 2020, so that you can then look at using the social media platforms to find that market first and foremost, because not every market lives on every social media platform. So if you're going to kind of get in there, might as well use the one that's actually going to get you in front of a market that you want to actually, cater to build that relationship.
Now, you know what? I haven't dived into this yet, but I think that people probably need more tips and tricks on this. So I'm always telling them you need to have a niche. And one thing that actually makes the hair stand up on the back of my back is when a real estate professional says, I do it all. It just like nails on a chalkboard. And I'm like, no, that is the worst thing you could ever say.
Right.
And I realized that when people come into the world of real estate, they don't understand they're an entrepreneur
Yeah.
and they get to design this business. So I'll throw out something, you can share something. But the very first thing that I tell agents is one, they need to understand the price points in the community. And the reason is this: a person can afford a house at 2.5 times their gross annual income. So if you're selling $250,000 houses, right, essentially, sorry. If a person makes $250,000, essentially, we're going to be looking at $625,000 houses. So where do I find this group of people who make $250,000 who would be looking to buy and sell real estate in my community? And I was on a talk show the other day and I told them I had to shift my sphere of influence when I came into real estate because my friends economically did not earn enough money to buy the houses that I wanted to sell. What is a tool or a resource that you believe that agents can leverage in 2020 to understand? One, what should they be looking at? Like, we keep telling them, oh, well, your sphere of influence, your sphere of influence, your sphere of influence. Most of them don't even know what that is. But more
Right.
importantly, they don't even know what that sphere looks like.
Yeah.
What's a resource or a tool or something you're telling them to do to find more out about that sphere?
Yeah, it's a great question and good point for sure that you're making and helping them with. One of the exercises that I do with my clients is that I have them take a look at if they are seasoned and experienced, what I'll do is I'll have them take a look and write down their top 10 clients and look at some similarities that they find, because it's always fascinating when they go through this exercise. And what I mean by top 10 is the clients that are they almost feel like they have a personal relationship with them. They refer business to them all the time. They feel like, they're sort of their cheerleaders and their champions, and ones that they can say, this has been an ideal client for me, and write those top 10 client names down and then take a look at them and see where are you seeing some similarities in age, race, income, right? Demographics. Are they married? Are they single? Do they have kids? Are they retired? And then also kind of look at similarities in terms of what are their behaviors and their interests, because those are the things that are going to help you leverage the use of social media, because Facebook's algorithm, right, is monitoring behavior and interests. And so if you get really clear on a niche market and you get really clear on the behaviors and interests, that's how you're able to actually tap into the algorithm that'll do the marketing for you. It'll start to show your content in front of that particular niche market, which goes back to the whole, you can't be doing it all, because then literally you're working against yourself in the terms of the algorithm, that formula that's running behind the scenes in Facebook, for example. The algorithm looks and goes, well, you're not helping me because you're blasting content out that is basically not helping me put it in front of a particular Facebook user community that I, as Facebook, I've already done all of the work for you as an algorithm. It's my responsibility as Facebook to want to make sure that the content I produce to a particular Facebook user community is adding value. And so the way it knows that it adds value is based on the response and the activities of that Facebook user. So the pages they liked, the posts that they've liked and commented and shared. And so the algorithm is doing all of this work for us. So, and again, it goes back to this is a free tool, and Facebook is spending millions of dollars to do data research for us that we have access to for free. So if we know that there's a community of Facebook users that the algorithm has already basically said, oh, okay, I have this niche for you already, then it makes it so much easier for the algorithm to start to show our content to that community. Let's take Sally, the Facebook user who loves watching cute puppy videos, right? The algorithm goes, great. Okay, I know this is what makes Sally happy. Let me go scan the millions of business pages that are out there and find cute puppy videos so I can organically show that to Sally. So as business page owners, we are responsible for making sure that our pages are really clear as to what we do, who we do it for, where we do it, how we do it. So the algorithm goes, great, I've got a whole community over here on Facebook that I've already done all of the research for you that I can put your content in front of. But if all we're doing as real estate professionals is pumping content out that's just all about real estate, that's just like such snoozer content. The algorithm isn't going to help you and do anything with that. So going back to your first question, if you can get really clear on a niche market and you really understand who they are and what their interests and their behaviors are and cater to that niche market, 80% of the content should be about what they like and not about you and real estate, which I know is a big, like, wait a second, it's not about us? No, it's not about you. It's about them. And that's what's going to make a big difference. And in 2020, if they can get their head around not being everything to everybody and really look at a specific market and then start pushing your brand in front of that market using the top social media platforms, that's where you're actually going to start to see some return on your efforts. Not just posting to post, right?
Yeah, not just to post. One of the things that I do consistently, I like to interview lenders in my marketplace.
Fabulous.
And I tell people I don't interview people who talk about jumbo mortgages because on the south side of Chicago, there aren't a lot of jumbo mortgage opportunities. I understand who I'm getting on the Chicago south side. So even though there are a lot of married couples, because Chicago is so racially and economically segregated, I am getting a lot of single African-American females. So I talk about single African-American female problems.
There you go. There you go.
Everything that resonates with them, because at one point I was a single African-American female and an unwedded mother.
See?
2017 or 18, 78% of African-American children were born to an unwedded mother. And so that is the sense of connection. Even though I'm married, I'm not that far gone that I don't remember, 9 years of not being married, raising my son on my own.
That's right.
And so I've identified what their problems are, and I talk about solutions to their problems. On the same hand, I had someone who decided to talk negatively about hair weave, and they're on the Chicago South Side. I said, how are you going to talk negatively about hair weave when a lot of these women have hair weave? You've just alienated a large percentage of your audience by talking negative about a personal choice that they've made.
Yeah.
And so we have to be clear about who the customer is. Absolutely. And the fact that one thing you said, it has nothing to do with me. It is 100% not about me. It's always about the consumer.
Exactly.
Based on the content, what content are you seeing? And this will be two different I guess I want two different types of answer. One would be videos, things of that nature. But then of videos, what type of content? And I'm not saying it is videos, but what are you seeing is resonating with consumers that will get them to engage with you or click or take action?
Yeah, so it's a good question because the recent studies that have just come out, and you know how they kind of like take all the data through the year and start pumping it out at this time of year for 2019. And a lot of what the studies are showing right now that the community is responding to is definitely a lot more video, but actually longer videos than what they had said in the beginning. It used to be like short and sweet, and now people are actually watching 3 minutes, 30 minutes worth of really long content. So that's kind of shifted a lot. But the other thing too is going back to the point of the content has to be something that's going to be relevant to the community as well. And then also kind of answering that. So you always have two different types of markets that you need to be taking into consideration when you're posting your content. One is the market that knows about you, right? So those are the eyeballs that are looking at your content. And what happens in the news feed is our eyes are looking at the video or the graphic. And that's what has to stop us. And then we'll look up and see what's the caption that's written there. So don't think that what you're writing is going to be the eye stopper, is what I call it. The eye stopper is the visual. So you have to have something that is going to grab the attention of the person that's looking at it. because then what happens is when the person looks at the graphic, then they'll go up and they'll look at what you've written. So take the opportunity in that content of what you've written to give them some sort of an instruction or a call to action. You don't want to lose the opportunity of telling them what to do. So if there's a click here, or send me a private message, or, you know, give me a like or a love, because then there's the other market that doesn't know about you yet. So those are the ones that are, the Facebook has sort of monitored, right, the user activity and behavior. And if you do a post, and this is a situation that happens, and I'm sure you've experienced this, you probably hear about this a lot. If you do a post on your business page and it just gets shown to like about 10 or 20 people, right? You may have 5,000 likes on your business page and 10 or 20 people see that, and then it goes nowhere. And I hear that a lot. It gets very frustrating, and they're like, well, you know, the Facebook business page just doesn't work. Well, it works if you understand who you're trying to connect with, and the content that you're posting is one that will resonate with them and not all about you. But the other thing that happens, the magic that happens, is when you start to post content that is relevant to the community, when you post, the algorithm is basically holding on to that post, right? Because the number one priority is to make sure that the content that it adds to the community adds value. So it's not just going to blast it out to the 5,000, right? It's going to hold on to it, and it's only going to show it to a very small percentage of the users that have liked your page, because it needs to make sure that it adds value first. So let's say it shows it to 25 people, and that 25 are probably ones that have responded to a post in the past that you've done. So it's kind of doing a little bit of a market testing, if you will. If that 25 sees that post and does nothing, that post falls into the Facebook graveyard. And Facebook was like, well, that didn't add any value, so I'm not showing that to any more people. However, if that 25 likes, comments, and shares, then the algorithm goes, okay, this is adding value. Now I'm going to start to release it to more and more and more. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, when someone likes a post, it's like a 3 or a 4. If someone comments, it's a 6 or a 7. If someone shares, it's like a 10. Because if you've ever shared a post, you know, you think about, like, there's kind of an emotional reaction that goes into that. Like, I like this post so much that I'm willing to actually share that into my personal community. So if you get shares, you're going to get I call it the ripple effect, right? So you want the big ripple so that the algorithm goes, okay, this adds value. I'm going to now start to show it to more and more and more of your community. And then the big widest ripple is where the algorithm goes, okay, now I'm going to show it to people that don't even know about you yet, because I've got a whole community over here that, based on their activity, has told me that they have an interest in what this post is about. So Sally, the cute puppy video lover, right? So the analogy I like to use with posts is that you want them to be that really big, fat, heavy pebble, so that when you drop that post, you're getting that big, huge ripple effect, as opposed to what we tend to do are the little pebbles, which happen to be all about us and all about real estate. So make the big, fat, heavy pebbles. And how you do that is you've got to grab the attention of the community. And so one end of the spectrum of attention getting kind of posts are like the gross, the fear, the shock, right? That one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is the cute, the funny, the warm, fuzzy, inspirational, motivational, those kinds of things. Middle of the road mediocre is real estate. So if you want to get the ripple effect and you want the algorithm to start showing your content to more and more, you've got to be putting content that's going to be the big fat, exactly one end of the spectrum or the other, because the eyeballs are scrolling, and it's got to be something that's going to grab them, and then they'll respond.
So I love the analogy, big, heavy pebbles, but I want to go back to something you said before then.
Okay.
Oh, so frustrating. Secret agents don't get found. So there's one thing that you said. You talked about if you share the post. That means that in order for their sphere of influence to see the post, you need to make the post public. And I am so annoyed, and they know I'm annoyed, and everybody got a freaking excuse about it, right? Why do you have private accounts and make private posts? Because secret agents don't get found.
Yeah.
And every rationale they come with, I have a dispute for it. At the end of the day, there is zero privacy on a social network.
Yep.
Anyone that you are friends with has the ability, or anyone who in the same private group, private group, your text messages, your emails, all of these forms of content have the ability to be screenshot and shared on your behalf without your permission.
Yeah.
So I'm still baffled by why agents come over to a social network and think that there's any amount of privacy. Are you seeing that as a problem? I mean, you probably coach them out of it, but
yeah. Well, it's very fear-based, right? Which is why they're broke. I mean, you're not going to make any money if you are hiding behind. And the reality of it is, like you're saying, Marky, nobody cares. Nobody cares. If they really want to get it, they're going to get it, and you just have to get over it. You have to get out of that broke mentality, because you are holding yourself back. And if you're hiding behind whatever that fear is, then guess what? The next agent that has no fear has just passed you up and taken the next client and is making the money that you should have made.
I have a quote that I use all the time. Technology will never replace a realtor, but a realtor with technology will replace a realtor without technology.
Amen.
So I think the next one is, but then not only do you need to use the technology, you need to be public about your utilization of it. In order for people to even have the opportunity to share your content. I have one post that has actually generated 44 leads over 2 years. The most recent lead from a video we created 2 years ago was back in September. The video has been shared 38 times.
Nice.
And so the reason we're still able, right, to generate these leads is because someone who might not have been in our sphere of influence, might not have been in our sphere at that time, maybe the algorithm might not have shown it to them at that time, or they weren't ready at that time.
Exactly.
Now seeing it again, and here they come, hey, I want that great information. And the information at this point it needs to be updated. We haven't even updated the report that we were giving out, right, from 2 years ago. I know that you talk about leveraging social media for lead generation. What does that process look like for an agent?
Well, it's so I'll use Facebook as an example. Facebook has really done so much when it comes to the technological side of it, to where it almost isn't even necessary at all for a real estate professional to have a website anymore, because people don't go on a website to check out a real estate professional. They certainly don't go on a real estate professional's website to look for real estate. That's not the source anymore. And recent studies have shown that if you hand somebody your business card, they're going to social media first, and they're looking at your reviews, and the very last is that they may look at your website. And so the wonderful thing with something like Facebook is that they've actually built the functionality to make it, and you probably know this terminology, literally cradle to grave. Like, they can connect with you, they can find out about you, they can do the research, look at your reviews, they can look at your posts, they can find the number of community. Are you engaged? Are you showing that social media is a part of your marketing strategy as a real estate professional? They will click the link to call you, they will send you a private message, and you will get an actual lead, all through Facebook. It's incredibly powerful, and Facebook is intentionally developing a technology for that to happen. And so, again, you don't want to discount being on these types of platforms where people are actually using that platform as a decision-making criteria resource. Leads happen all day long on Facebook.
Oh, and so I often teach my agents how to leverage MLS tools or free tools
Mm-hmm.
for lead gen purposes on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, any place that I can add a call to action and I can
Yes.
actually link to some type of landing page.
Yep.
But the power of Facebook, nothing is working to me as well as
Yeah.
Facebook. And
Yeah.
even on Facebook, nothing is working as well as live streaming video.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got to get everybody over that hurdle of what they think they look like, right?
Yes.
Or what they think they sound like,
Yes.
and start leveraging the most engaging form of content. So you said that Facebook was working on a new, and they're always working on a new technology, right? It's always something new on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. When people come and they're like, oh, can you teach me the basics? I'm like, the basics? You're talking 10, 12 years ago?
Right.
And what I'm telling them right now, I take them straight to live streaming video. They're like, we weren't ready for video. Oh, come on now. When it comes to that lead gen, right, are you pulling any third-party tools out? Are you recommending they use their laptop or their mobile device? What are some of the suggestions you have for agents on how to generate leads with Facebook?
Well, it goes back to my very first point of making sure that you understand who it is that you're talking to, right? And not trying to be everything to everybody, because that's really where the power comes in generating the leads, is because a lot of the conversation that you're having is speaking to them, like you were saying, the single women, right? And it's really helping to, and that you're doing interviews with people that are have resources and tools and things that they can do to basically make their lives easier and better. The most powerful thing that Facebook is investing in right now is artificial intelligence, and not artificial intelligence in the way that we traditionally know artificial intelligence to be, but in a way that it is looking at the words and the things that are being said in videos now are actually being translated by the artificial intelligence algorithm. And so now the power for your video, and live video is still the most powerful one. Absolutely support what you're saying, because it's free advertising. Hello. I don't know how much longer Facebook is going to do that, but you go live and Facebook is advertising that by promoting it to your community for you for free. You don't have to pay for that. Again, it's free. And yes, people have to get over how they look and how they sound, because guess what? That's how they look and that's how they sound. So, get over it, deal with it. But so when you're doing Facebook Lives, you definitely want to make sure that you are dropping in a lot of the keywords about who you are talking to. Who is your demographic? Who is your niche market? Because the artificial intelligence is stripping those words out for you now. It couldn't do that a year or two ago. Now it can. So that whole helping the algorithm understand what it is that you do and who you do it for is so incredibly powerful for you to then get in front of that niche market. And you also want to have the call to action. So if it's a landing pages are very powerful, but they have to be a page that is going to basically communicate what it is that is going to be a solution for that particular niche market. It has to be very tailored to that niche market.
Because we're planning now for a successful 2020, and
Mm-hmm.
in that preparation, I'm always looking what's going to be my focus, right? So this past year, it was all, I call it verticalization, vertical videos being stories, right? I came up with my own terminology.
I love it.
And so this year, it's kind of a little bit of everything from the past, where live streaming video, stories, but now it's all about that audio and audio to text transcription. When we have my podcast is now on the, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want her to pop on, Alexa, right? So all iTunes are now playing there, but then we also have those as flash briefings, and then we're taking that text and we're turning it into blog post, and we're turning it into emails. And so basically, as I encourage agents, I'm telling them, one, generate the leads. Do the live streaming video, generate the lead. But now you have this video content that you have audio, well, you have video to audio, audio to text transcription, And video is the only form of content that you can repurpose without recreating.
Yeah.
And I can see the light bulb go off, right? Kind of sort of getting it, but they can't, honestly, they 100% do not realize what they've been missing out on.
Yeah.
And some of the tools, because you were talking about the audio to text, Temi, Temi, Otter, OTTER.ai, these are all audio to text, different tools that you can use outside of Facebook if you want to take those clips and use them somewhere else. What I've noticed, and I think I'm also mesmerized by this, I have a private Facebook group, and in order to be a member of the group, I need to be able to tell that you're in the world of real estate. So I've never seen a group of people who in their bio do not identify what it is that they do for a living, right? So your account to private, and in this free bio, which essentially is your billboard, you don't tell the world what you do on any of these platforms. What are two things that an agent can do today to improve their online or social media presence?
So I assume you're talking about their personal Facebook page, right? When you go on there to see.
Let's do personal and business if you have a different suggestion.
Well, definitely the personal, yes, very frustrating that they do not identify what they do in their bio. And the other frustrating thing on their personal is that they may have a link, but the link is going to actually like the corporate business page. So let's say they're with Remax, right? They've created a link from their personal Facebook to the Remax business corporate Facebook business page, but they have their own Facebook business page. But they're not linking people to that one. They're linking it to corporate. So that's really frustrating. So definitely want to see that. There's another thing that they can do on their personal side, which again goes back to the niche market, is if you have friended personally individuals that are in your community that might have been past clients, then what you can do in Facebook on your personal side is you can basically create private lists, and you can add those people to those private lists, and then that allows you to filter out your news feed so that all you're seeing are the posts from those particular people that you have friended on the personal side, and allows you to kind of be more strategic in your kind of monitoring of their posts. On the business side, things that they definitely need to make sure that they are doing on the business page. So if we talk about the algorithm again for a second, remember how I said the algorithm goes and scans the millions of pages looking for content? So when the algorithm scans the business pages, there's basically 5 questions that the algorithm is looking to get answers to when it's scanning a business page. It needs to know who you are, what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, and where you do it. And these are critical things that all real estate agents need to answer, because they should have the answers to all of these questions. And then what the algorithm does is it actually goes to 4 specific places on the business page to get the 5 answers. It looks at the name of the page. So if you have, let's say, Sally Smith, real estate, Chicago, right? So you're answering 3 of those 5 questions in that name. Then it goes and it looks at the description of the profile picture and the description of your header picture or header video, which 90% of the time, they got nothing. It's empty. So what you want to make sure is you're packing in all of the right keywords that are giving the answers to those 5 questions. And then also making sure that you've got a call to action. So the call to action could be your phone number, your email, if you've got a link to a landing page or what have you. Really make sure that if anybody wants to see what I'm talking about, go to my business page behind your curtain, double click on my profile picture. You're going to see I've got it packed with keywords, hashtags, call to actions, all of the things that I know are going to really help the algorithm do its job. And then the 4th place is a new area that's been made available in the business page within the last couple of years, and that's a story. And so the story gives us the opportunity, going back to the whole cradle to grave, you can actually create almost a bit of a mini website, if you will, in your story. So you can have different sections. Again, if they want to look at an example, look at my story and my behind your curtain business page. You can create almost like a mini website. So the different pages that you would have on your website, you can actually have and create different sections. You can have clickable links. You can pull in high resolution graphic pictures, create different sections, and have call to actions in there. So that's also a place the algorithm is going and looking at getting the answers to those 5 questions. So kind of take a look at, do you have the right information in those areas? Because again, if you do, the algorithm is going to go, great, I know exactly what your page is about, and now I can start to serve your content and show your page to the right demographics. But again, if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you can pack in as much information as you want, but if you're not getting specific, you're not helping the algorithm as well. So, you know, for myself, the 2 niche markets that I have focused on in answering the questions are real estate professionals and authors. Those are my 2. So I make sure I've got those keywords like packed in there, right? So the algorithm is going, okay, that one question of who you do it for is really, really important. So your content is being shown to the right people. So those are some tips on the personal and the business side.
So at this time of the year, right, generally the founder of Facebook, and I haven't seen the whole F8 this year because he'll come out with things he thinks that we should do the next year. And every single year, I'm listening to Mark about what he wants to see on Facebook because lo and behold, if I do what Mark tells me to do, for some reason it seems to work, right?
Imagine that. Crazy.
If you give Facebook what the founder says to give it, you have better outcomes. What is one thing you think will be implemented or we'll see as a change to Facebook in 2020?
Well, I think it's still going to go along. You're going to see a lot of stuff happening with artificial intelligence, and I think what's going to start to happen is that you're going to start to see in your news feed is really going to start to present more of content that the artificial intelligence is feeling is going to be much more relevant to what it is that you want. And so be aware of what you're doing as a Facebook individual user. If you want the right content to start to show up for you, be cognizant of the pages that you're liking and the posts that you're liking and commenting, and also the people that you are connecting with, because the algorithm is going to continue to just show you what it is that you want to see based on your content. But what you're going to start to see is a lot of content being shown to you that you did not know about, that you didn't even have a clue that these pages existed or these posts existed. And that's purely because the algorithm is looking at our content. Looking at our activity and our behaviors, because Zuckerberg really, and the spotlight's on him right now. And so he's really got to confirm that he's all about the user. He's not about anything that is considered potentially, disingenuous. He's all about the users. And so he's got to make sure that the content that he's serving up to the user community is going to feel genuine based on their activity and their user. They're still trying very much to get the user adoption of watching longer videos. Like they've got they actually have the TV shows that you can watch on Facebook, like IGTV and TV on Facebook. Hasn't gone over as well as they wanted to. Change management is difficult for people. If you're a Netflix binge watcher, the chances are you're going to stay on Netflix. They're trying to kind of pull a lot of people away from that and have them watch actual series and shows that Facebook launched almost 2 years ago. And most people still don't even know that that's something that's available, that you can have your own shows. But they're still trying to pull that over and see if that's going to happen. But I don't know that that's still where the user community is going to lend itself more. And the reason why I say that is because I have had clients that have invested in doing longer actual shows and trying to get their audience to come over to that. And I just don't see that that's something I think still going with the shorter content, like the shorter videos and repurposing those, I think that that's still something that is going to be that the community is going to be more interested in than the longer videos type shows.
Yeah, I'm not seeing longer engagement only based on attention span, but somebody said, everything we're seeing about attention span is false. I'm like, no, I can tell my own attention span is getting
Hmm.
shorter and shorter and shorter. And even with the format of this show, do I break it down into 15 minutes, hit them with, 5, 6 great bullet points, and let's move out. And so we're testing even still long form video, but shorter versions of the long form.
Right,
So,
right.
one, I've noticed something about be aware of what you do, the relationship between Instagram and Facebook.
Mm.
And so, I bought a new car. I followed them on Instagram. Now I'm seeing ads and more content pop up on Facebook. So I'm seeing that the two definitely are sharing all of that content and then cross-referencing those two platforms in order to put content in front of you. And I think moving forward, people will become more aware of the Instagram Facebook relationship, which a lot of people I believe have totally ignored over time,
Mm.
unless they're placing ads. They wouldn't even, some people still don't know that Instagram is owned by Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, go figure. So
Yeah.
you provide a lot of great services. Facebook like the back of your hand. If someone wants to do business with you, they want to expand their digital footprint in 2020 and beyond, how does one connect with you?
Well, thank you for asking. So they can go to my website, which is behindyourcurtain.com, and right there on the front page is a button that they can click to schedule a call with me. And what I primarily do is I have a 30-day program, and it's called a social media facelift. And so what I do is I work with the agents to kind of help them unpack that niche market, get them real clear on who that focus is, who that market is that we want to focus on. And then I go in and I actually optimize their pages to look really good, to feed the algorithm, to get engagement from that niche market, help really increase their brand, to get them in front of that market. And then I teach them how to then continue to use it. So after the 30 days, they look really good, and they feel very educated and empowered to be able to actually move forward and manage their social media themselves. It should not take them hours and hours if they just follow the steps that I give them and work the strategy, because there's a whole strategic part of it that they just sort of feel like all I have to do is just push content out. And it's much more than that. So after the 30 days, again, they just look really good and they feel much more educated on how they could be using it going forward themselves.
Excellent. So the facelift, 30-day facelift program that you
Mhm.
teach, one, you set it up for them, and then you teach them
Mhm.
how to manage it themselves.
Exactly. Yep.
Excellent. I love that. And give them the website one more time.
Behindyourcurtain.com.
Behind your curtain. Well, you know what, Karin? I thank you for your time and your energy today. I
Oh,
have a
thank
couple of
you.
things. Look, I'm getting ready to go double click on my photos to make sure that I have everything that I need in my photos. I'm
Good,
like,
good,
yeah, I
good.
don't know if I'm doing a good job on that one. Let me, and let me say this. This is the joy of doing this, is that not only are you teaching others, but you get to learn something new every single week. So I have
Yes.
my takeaway homework
Good.
every single
Good for
week
you.
after every recording in order to boost my own brand. So
Of
I
course.
appreciate you for being here with us today.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Not
Thank
a
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well.